My name is Oliver Queen. For 5 years, I was stranded on an island with only one goal. Survive.
Oliver Queen is alive.
Now I will fulfill my father's dying wish to use the list of names he left me and bring down those who are poisoning my city. To do this, I must become someone else. I must become something else.
Hello and welcome to the Arrowfans UK episode review podcast. This one is going to be focusing on episode 14, called Time of Death. I'm Bradley and I'm joined as usual by Corey. Hello Corey.
Hello everyone.
Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about episode 14, Time of Death, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, and various other things. We have to start at the end because it was the biggest moment since before Christmas when we found out that Slade was alive, in that Oliver found out that Slade was alive.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly.
It was kind of obvious. We predicted it in our predictions podcast, in between episodes 13 and 14. And it became abundantly clear about 6 or 7 minutes from the end of the episode when Oliver got that text from Thea, that was how Oliver was going to find out Slade was alive. But it was still brilliant.
Yeah, spot
on. So obviously this is going to have a lot of impacts on Oliver, because I assume that next week he's going to find out about his plan to kill everyone close to Oliver. So, yeah. What do you think of Slade coming into the picture? In fact, this early. It's...
Yeah.
I mean, we only found out that he was alive in episode 9. So, for Oliver to find out now...
Yeah,
shock.
I mean, it was, it probably came quicker than I was expecting, and I guess, in some ways also I didn't quite expect it to be a face-to-face reveal, you know, like Oliver to see Slade. I'm sure we talked about that in our, it must have been our theories podcast. We were talking about the ramifications of if they met face-to-face or anything. Yeah, so that was surprising, but it's well executed. Come a lot sooner than I thought, and I mean, it's really setting us up for a hell of a last few episodes now.
Yeah, I mean, we got the promotional images for the next episode and the 1-minute promo for this episode that featured Slade in the house.
Yeah.
So we kind of knew that he was going to be in the house, but sort of the whole kind of introducing it, kind of showing Oliver that he's alive, kind of meeting him, it almost gives way for them to discuss things. Whereas you would think, as we discussed, like the trick arrow with the recorder or something like that, where Oliver finds out, but Slade doesn't know that Oliver knows.
Yeah.
So, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think actually, sort of, just thinking about it a bit, I think it's actually better that it's unfolding this way. Because with what Slade's planning and everything, you say it's all about being in control for him and, you know, doing everything he wants to do to people who care for Oliver and who are close to him. And obviously he's calling the shots because, you know, presumably he's gone to the Queen Mansion, obviously to take care of Moira, but, you know, with the hope that he's going to meet Oliver as well. I mean, I've just got nothing but good things to say about it. It just works really well.
Yeah, I mean, I never contemplated the fact that actually he was there to try and kill Moira, to be fair. I know he said, was it episode 13, I think it was? He said that he would take care of Moira.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's only sort of just occurred to me when you said it, but I think he's only gone there to meet Oliver. He went there in hope of Oliver coming back to the house.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
Because, I mean, what is the point of kind of killing Moira if Oliver doesn't know who's done it? If he's going to kill Moira, he needs Oliver to know that he's sort of alive.
Yeah.
First, rather than killing him and then finding out he's alive.
Yeah.
I mean, from next week's promo, which we'll come into a little bit later in more detail, but it looks like that plan could backfire on him.
Yeah, it does rather.
But we will come to that towards the end. But I mean, overall, having Slade in it now actually opens up a lot.
Yeah.
Because before it was just sort of the threat of the Mirakuru, which we haven't seen in quite a while. I'm still wondering if Slade's actually given that blood sample to Blood.
Yeah.
Because we're, 2 months on? We still haven't quite got there.
No.
So that sort of died down a little bit. So they need this sort of, the threat of Slade, and it'll work quite well in conjunction with what's going on the island, because we think that there might be the rift opening wider and wider in the next episode between the two.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. I'd say also it works well because I'll come on to this a bit later. I just, particularly at the start of this episode just gone, when they were training with bamboo sticks and whatever, I got this weirdly sort of, I don't know if happy vibe's the right way to put it, but there just seemed this difference. I mean, like Oliver with Sarah now and everything, and obviously things aren't too great with Moira, and obviously when he was lecturing Laurel at the end, he was saying that he's got things going on, but apart, his life seemed a little bit more in check. I'm totally contradicting myself with every single word I say right now, but I don't know, I think it just opens it up again, and I think what you'd probably say about Oliver is, in his life he doesn't have much stability, and I think he'd seen Moira for what she was with Sarah now, and I guess in some ways things were more positively stable and more negatively stable, but there weren't many shock waves going through his life, I guess I'm trying to say, but Slade in there, it ruffles it all up again, opens up new possibilities, maybe sort of gets him back on track a little with Moira. It just sort of pushes the show on a little more, I guess I'm trying to say. I'm going to shut up now because I really don't know where I'm going anymore.
No, you've brought on an interesting thought from here. I mean, before this episode, everything was sort of going well for Oliver. I mean, okay, before the last episode, before Heir to the Demon, everything was going quite well.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Laurel, okay, she's on drugs and alcohol and whatever else, and lost the job, but Oliver's still there for her, right? You've got Lance, who he's now friends with.
Yeah.
You got Moira, who he didn't quite know about Thea until then. The Arrow Cave didn't have Roy, didn't have Sarah in it. It's going a little bit further back than Tremors, actually. But it was stable. They've got the core three, as usual. Everything was going quite well. No one was off in Russia or anything, or kidnapped or anything like that. And then suddenly, Roy finds out his identity. Sarah comes back. Dina gets kidnapped, or comes back and gets kidnapped. Oliver finds out about Thea's, about Malcolm, I should say.
Yeah.
Sarah comes into the Arrow Cave. I've forgotten what else we've had happen. Laurel, oh yeah, he had a go at Laurel.
Yep, that's true.
All these, and for Felicity sort of feeling left out in the Arrow Cave. So now, what you've gone from in 3-4 episodes, you've gone from Oliver having everything going well, not everything going well for him, but everything kind of stable.
Yeah.
Kind of bearable. Everything's kind of been thrown into turmoil. And then suddenly Slade comes back into the equation. And now that turmoil has just been thrown even further.
Yeah. And I'm just nodding along here.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, bringing Slade into it now is very good. It opens up a lot of doors.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to find out what this promise is next week, but he's going to have that threat looming over him, for these final few episodes. So yeah, like you say, it just opens up a lot of doors. I guess places a different dynamic on the series now, and can only be a good thing. Well, for us, not for Oliver.
No, not for Oliver. Yeah, but yes, should be very fun. Okay, so we're going to move on and talk about the Lance family. There's a nice little awkward family dinner there.
Yeah, that was rather awkward.
We knew it would be.
Well, yeah.
It was always going to be when you've got Laurel who hates Sarah, both of them there. Oliver there too, who just got with Sarah.
Yeah.
Lance and Dina, all at one table.
Yep.
It was always going to end badly.
Yeah, pretty much that.
But Laurel has decided to turn herself around, which is a positive.
Yeah, because I think we've made it no secret when we've not been massive fans of her storyline of late. So, at least it looks like we won't have to have much more of that in future episodes.
Well, let's hope. I mean, maybe if someone was to die again and she was to start blaming everyone else.
Well, yes.
Or, Sebastian Blood was to return into the episodes and suddenly she was to start blaming him for, being a serial killer. Or something ridiculous like that.
Yep.
Yeah. But, it's irritating actually, because even though we've wanted Laurel to sort herself out for weeks now, the fact that it took a speech from Oliver to do it, and not the return of Sarah, which we thought would be what kind of made her think, actually I've got some positives in my life now,
Yeah.
let's sort myself out. No, that just pushed her further down the drain.
Yep.
Instead, we get a speech from someone who's been around the entire show, right? Been around her a lot for the last few episodes. Why couldn't he have just made the speech weeks ago?
That's a very good question, and I don't know, just commend the man for having patience as long as he has.
Yeah, we don't have that.
We definitely don't have that, no.
I think I lost patience after, I think at Tommy's grave in City of Heroes.
Yeah.
I think I lost patience then.
I think I did too.
When it was all it was the Arrow's fault for Tommy dying. That was just the tipping point. But hopefully she'll sort herself out properly now. We won't have to deal with any more of her complaining or whatever. And supposedly she gets a new job in episode 17. According to a Mark Guggenheim tweet, but I don't know much about that.
No, I guess so. That'll be something to cover once we get to 17.
Yes. As for Quentin and Dina, well, that plan went really well for Quentin, didn't it?
I swear that man is never going to get a happy ending.
It's a real shame, because, well, he's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
But, to be fair, I was slightly happy, because, if Dina stayed, American accent.
Well, yeah, it's far from convincing, that accent.
Yeah. I mean, if she was to stay, maybe they could just sort of write her so she appears like once a season.
Yeah.
That wouldn't bother me.
No, I think we could tolerate that.
But, obviously, it worked out so well for Quentin. Just made the family dinner worse. You had Laurel complaining at Sarah and Oliver, after Quentin realised that actually the whole point of it failed.
Yeah, it was just a total train wreck of a dinner, really. No.
I think there was a picture, I think it was on Stephen Amell's Facebook page, of the picture of Oliver sitting at the table, and it was something like, when you're at a friend's house for dinner, and there's a family fight, and you're just sitting there like, what do I do? With this sort of that kind of face on Oliver, and I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was a disaster.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sarah and Oliver are they becoming a thing, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so far it seems so. That was one thing I actually felt, that it's kind of good that I think they did go that route with it, rather than just make it a bit of a pointless hookup, like Rochev in episode 6. And like we say, that was one of our more infamous conversations, but anyway. No, I think it, like you say, it's already opened some doors with the Laurel spat. Also, because obviously Sarah's now part of Team Arrow, she's going out with Oliver and taking people down. So it's going to be interesting to see what that does. Because obviously you must feel she can handle herself, but you'd expect that with Slade back in the picture, that might get a little uglier. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it might make Felicity jealous still.
Yeah, bless her. Poor old Felicity.
Yes. Speaking of Sarah, she's got a new job.
Yep, bartender.
Yeah, I think her resume was, well, pretty awful.
Yeah, she might not have got anywhere fast with that resume.
No, she would have.
Well,
Starling
yes.
City Prison, Iron Heights.
Well, yeah.
That definitely would have happened. Yeah. Question: what has happened to all the bar staff?
That is very true, actually.
I mean, it seems like there's always someone there, and it's always a different person every episode. You've got Roy, who works there as well. Where have all the people gone?
Don't know. Oliver shoot him so Sarah can get a job? I don't know.
Well, no, I don't think so. Maybe it was kind of like, instead of, we misconstrued what Slade was saying, rather than saying, like, the people that he cares about, the people closest to him are the people, like, close proximity-wise. So, when he's in the Arrow Cave, people that are close to him in that respect are people at the bar.
That's a very reasonable theory.
So he's gonna kill them, surely.
Yeah, in a few episodes' time, we'll just hear this huge murder spree on bar staff.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be like those, I can't remember which club it was that Oliver and Tommy went to early last season to check out the competition. Wonder if some of their bar staff have gone missing as well.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to watch
Maybe
that
we've got a bar staff serial killer.
That'd be an interesting MO.
That would be really weird. But, yeah, Sarah's the next one on the list.
Yeah. Actually, that disturbingly fits in with Sarah saying people he cares about and everything, so I think we might be onto something here.
Yes. She shouldn't have taken the bar job. She's gonna die now. Unreal. But yeah, I think that's it for the Lance family, really. I mean, other than, Sarah sort of, having her nightlife as a masked vigilante, just like Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing I was going to mention was, Quentin, at the party.
Oh, yeah.
At the Queen Mansion. It was very nice of him to suddenly kind of make that point to Oliver that just sort of forgives him and whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I wrote the review up and I went through that. I think it was, I suppose, that the whole reason he was, not Oliver's biggest fan was because he thought Sarah died, and with her back, he probably got a little perspective on the whole thing. But more than that, I'd say his development from season 1 has been quite astounding, and I don't really know what the turning point's been for him actually, but he's just come on leaps and bounds, and as we've said before, Paul Blackthorne is awesome.
I think the turning point was when the police bloke, his boss, suspended him because of the whole earthquake thing, when the Arrow warned him.
Yeah, I think you're, yeah.
I think kind of the whole thing of, okay, maybe he realised he knows he's a criminal, but actually he is trying to help the city here.
Yeah.
And actually I think that's the point he realised it, and he's been suspended for it.
That's true, actually, yeah.
That was definitely the turning point, and obviously, if he's hating the Arrow less, he's going to hate Oliver less, because if he hates the Arrow and Oliver, he's sort of hating Oliver twice at once.
Yeah, that's true.
If that makes sense.
I know what you're saying.
So sort of half his hate's gone, and then suddenly League of Assassins, he finds out Sarah's still alive.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really hate Oliver anymore. I mean, what can he hate him for?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to help Laurel, Sarah's alive, so, nothing, well, other than losing Sarah for 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years ago, he hated Oliver, and because Sarah went with him and died, or supposedly died, now she's alive, he has no reason to.
Yep, spot on, really.
And then when Quentin finds out that Oliver's the Arrow, he'll have another reason.
Yep.
Which should be quite fun. But yeah, the Lance family seem to get a little bit better this week, with regards to Laurel.
Yeah, I'd be lying there if I said they're still my favourite family on the show, but
well, I don't know, Quentin kind of makes it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And Sarah.
Yeah.
And it's better than the dysfunctional, lying family of the Queens of keeping the secret from Thea that Malcolm is her father, which is a problem to begin with.
Well, yeah.
Out of the two, considering, I think that's the only really real one we've seen any family of.
Yeah.
I reckon that the Lance family's better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got less awful Laurel, hopefully. Dean is probably going to disappear for quite a while.
Yeah, and can't say I'll be too fussed about that one.
No. And of course we keep Sarah and Quentin.
Yep, so
I
suppose it's a win.
Yeah, it's an all-round win. So we're going to talk a little bit about the villain of the week. Robert Nepper played William Tockman, and the comic fans all know that is the Clockman. He was very OCD. With the whole sort of, you got 3.4 seconds. You've got to be in the lobby in 5.4 seconds.
Very, very precise.
Yeah, I mean, there's precise and then there's precise.
Yes.
This guy was ridiculous. but it made a good villain, I reckon.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, some of the villains before that Oliver has come out with are sort of like a little bit planned, but they kind of, fail when it comes to putting it into action.
Yeah.
This bloke is ridiculously well planned, and his plans would work well if the people he hired weren't idiots.
Very true. Very
as we
true.
saw in the first scene. Wait for 10 seconds. I can't remember the exact time, but if you wait for 10 seconds, and the bloke just makes a run for it and gets caught by the security guard and kills him. Yeah, this is what I mean. You shouldn't hire idiots.
No, you should probably hire like-minded people or even just people who are equally OCD with time and precision to the second. Then, they might listen more.
I don't think there is anyone else out there that exists like that, but...
Very true.
But yeah, at least hire someone with some sort of common sense.
Well, yeah, that works.
This bloke knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So just sort of listen to him. I enjoyed the fact that he was kind of like it. It's interesting to have someone who kind of plans for anything.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I liked it when they're robbing the money out of the vault, and they're like, "No, you got to get out of there." "No, we've still got 30 seconds left." "No, you don't." when saw the arrow. Yeah, it's not going to work well if they stay there.
No, they're not going to be on their feet and, robbing much longer.
No. I liked the fact that he killed the bloke with a clock hand.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a nice move.
Yes, it was. And his little speeches, they were in the 1 minute promo for the episode. They weren't quite as good in the actual episode. It's like with the Quentin's. Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't quite as good when it was actually in the episode.
No, I swear I don't know if scary is the right word, but it just it just sounded better in the promo. It didn't sort of it had a better effect in the promo. I mean, I know that was the whole point, but
Yeah, it sounded like a deeper, sort of more intimidating voice.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I think it didn't really have the same effect in the in the actual episode. It definitely didn't come across as intimidating as in the promo.
I think the thing was, it intimidated Felicity because he got into her system.
Yeah.
So it intimidated her and Diggle and Oliver that way, rather than Slade with his ridiculously deep voice.
Yes.
But yeah, it wasn't quite as good.
No.
I was disappointed. But we did get to hear him say hidey hole.
And yeah, that was good.
Any sort of weird word like that that's ever said on a TV show is fun.
Yeah, like Count Vertigo, it's
Yeah.
Facto.
Yeah, that was good. Maybe it's like, that was episode 7, so maybe they got something with the 7s. So we'll get something in episode 21.
Yep, bring it on.
Starting to sound like the Clock King then. Obviously, he was sort of a nemesis for Felicity almost, because he sort of was able to match her technical expertise.
Yeah, I thought that perhaps the interesting thing about him too, I mean, the vast majority of threats Oliver has are, nemesis he has are quite physical. Bronze Tiger, Malcolm Merlin, obviously Slade, Deathstroke, and he definitely didn't provide that, Clock King. He was almost psychological to an extent, especially with Felicity, making her question herself and everything. I mean, technologically, he was as clever as her. Well, not as clever as her, because, she got him in the end. But, yeah, it was nice to sort of see her tested as well. And, not just the one helping Oliver along, but, actually in the firing line. Well, quite literally, as she got shot, so...
Yeah. I think that was more of her own sort of stupidity.
Yes.
Than anything else, sort of trying to prove herself.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good idea to try and prove herself, but it was stupid.
Yeah, it was sort of erratically done, I guess. I don't think she was really, for someone as clever as she is, she didn't quite think it all the way through.
It wasn't as methodical as the Clock King's, heists.
Yes.
It wasn't quite as good as that.
No.
Maybe if he had hired her, like, if he was instructing her, she'd have been good.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mm.
She's got a career as a villain if she wants one. There we go.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, it was a nice thing though, because, as we've said, Sarah comes into the Arrow lair here. Unlike Roy, who sort of knows about them, but so far hasn't actually been in the Arrow cave since he was introduced to everyone. Yeah. Sarah's actually now come into it properly. She's been in there.
Yeah.
She's almost like a full-time part of Team Arrow now.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously with no threat from the League of Assassins or anything. So, obviously Felicity had sort of reason to feel challenged, because she seemed to do everything.
Mm.
I mean, she could even analyse blood through a microscope and tell you exactly what was wrong with the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just ridiculous. But I suppose she was taught by Ivo.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Who is in itself crazy.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see the sort of Felicity, what was my point, and then Diggle sort of backing her up, saying that you're irreplaceable and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That was good. So sort of Felicity in this episode was much more than just sort of someone who does the technological stuff and occasionally makes very awkward comments that are funny.
Yeah, I mean, she's given more depth, shown to be quite fragile and insecure, and I don't know if humanize is the right word really, but rather than sort of just see her as the clever, occasionally funny one, you just saw her as someone who's insecure, and I guess in some ways perhaps what I'm trying to say is, with how clever she's been in the one-liners, she perhaps almost appeared quite confident with that, but obviously you've sort of seen she's not, she's a little fragile sometimes, and it was just nice to see.
Yeah, I enjoyed her in this episode. I mean, I think I've said before that actually her being there as the tech person and making jokes, making these comedy references, was good for a time, but then it started to get boring.
Yeah.
It's like if we'd had Barry in it properly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been fun, because it just becomes too much.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a drama, something to leave you on edge. You can't rely on Oliver Slade scenes just to do that.
No.
I mean, I enjoy the comedy, but as I said before, it needs to be sort of placed rather than just sort of every time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about Barry, and we were sort of saying every time he was on, there was always a bit of, funny comment here and there. But, they're developing Felicity nicely, and, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last week we learned about her parents. Well, sort of, a little bit about them. I think I read somewhere that we're going to see more about it later on.
Yeah, I think I read that too, actually.
I mean, I don't think it'll be for 4 more episodes at least, considering we know the episode titles, and,
well, yeah.
I think we might struggle to get it in there. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the character development with Felicity. Yeah, it's fun in the Arrow Cave to have.
Yep.
But my question is, I mean, obviously, it's a good job we got the Suicide Squad episode coming up, because otherwise I'd really question what Diggle's purpose is.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I watched it. I mean, I think I must have been halfway through, and I was thinking he's sort of just increasingly fading into the background a bit, and he got a little bit more involved, but yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. We definitely need some more Diggle stuff, which we're going to get.
Yep.
A couple of weeks' time. So that's good. But yeah. And she's got a scar now as well, so.
Yeah, had a bit of toplessness, which seems to be a requirement if you're in the Arrow Cave.
Yes, as we've seen from a preview clip for next week's episode as well, haven't we?
Yes.
Roy's joined in with that. I just thought the best bit was the aspirin you gave me has really helped me. Aspirin, oxycodone. So
That's good.
That's quite good. As long as she doesn't develop a drug obsession like Laurel.
Yep. Yeah, I heard that.
That is the worry.
Yep.
But it was quite funny. I mean, you got the serious moments of Felicity being shot and whatever. You got to have a light-hearted moment after that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yes. Okay. So we're going to move on and talk about the island scenes this week. Again, they didn't really have much of an impact on the island, really.
No, I mean, it was more just, I guess, towards the end, setting up next week's island-centric episode.
Yeah. Again, I felt that the island scenes actually had more of an effect in the present day than they did the island.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
In the fact that we saw that Sarah's made friends with Sin because the pilot, who was her dad, died, and she couldn't save him, so she's become friends with her to make sure she's safe.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch to introduce that backstory into things. Yeah, but like you say, it definitely had more of an impact in the present day, and I guess we just see a little bit more of Sarah, and she kept her word to this guy, even though she supposedly died again. Went to train with the League of Assassins, and then eventually came back to Silent City and still went and looked after this guy's daughter, Finn.
Yeah, you can't question her commitment.
No.
My question is, though, at what point are we meant to believe that Sin is 18 or 19?
That is true.
Because I swear he said that at the time he died, she's a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
How is she 19 or 18, 19 now?
Yeah.
It's just not believable. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I'll look it up. I don't know how old Bex Taylor Claus is. She is. Wait for it. The power of Google. No, it's not even on Wikipedia. That's really good.
Okay, she was 18 in 2012, so 20?
Yeah.
2021, I guess.
20, yeah. Depends on her birthdays, but 19, 20.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Apparently, well, according to IMDb, she doesn't have a birthday either, so...
It's nice, nobody knows her birthday.
That is a real shame. I'm gonna have to ask her. Or tweet her. Someone tweet her. When is your birthday? So we know. And then we can figure out how old she is. And then compare it to how unrealistic it is that she's supposed to be 18, 19 on the show.
Yeah, I never really would have thought she was 18, 19.
No. That's what, I never made the connection because of that.
No.
But yeah. It's given us a reason to have Sin around, and Sin's just brilliant, so.
Yeah, so that's only a good thing.
Yeah. We'll stop complaining about a good thing. I mean, it did really confuse me when Oliver found the parachute and was like, we're gonna get off we're gonna get to the freighter now. Surely to use a parachute, you have to be in the air.
Very true.
And that plane didn't look like it was going to be flying anytime soon.
No. Just trying to think how they're actually going... Well, we'll find out soon how they actually use them, but... Yeah, good point.
My only other thought was that they could climb up to the highest hill and jump off and parachute. But
Yeah.
it's probably in the centre of the island, and the boat's not exactly close to the shore, so they'll probably never even make it off the beach.
Very true. Yeah, I guess we'll see how they're going to use them next week.
I always enjoy it when we get drama like that, with the dramatic music, the whole kind of, no, we're saved, we've got away off the island. And I'm just like, do you?
Yeah.
You actually? It's all very odd. Just looking up what else there is. Wasn't really much, was there?
No, I mean, we've probably covered the island now. There wasn't really that much to draw from it.
No. Next week there is.
Yeah, there's going to be a fair bit, I imagine.
Yes. Yeah. I just find it a bit odd, though, that the plane just happened to crash right above where Sarah, Oliver, and Slade were. It's not sort of like, it's a massive island, and it has to crash there.
Yeah, no, it's convenience. I guess we'll just have to believe in the illusion.
Yeah, to be fair, convenience is just everything on a TV show, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's very convenient that, that key was left there after, someone's handcuffed, and they break out of around a pole or something, and they manage to break the pole so they can move the handcuffs, and the key is very conveniently placed just over there where they can get to it easily without anyone seeing them.
Yep, that's just lovely and convenient.
But, if it wasn't there, then TV wouldn't be quite interesting, because that person would be in handcuffs for the next 20 minutes still.
Very true.
So, I suppose we shouldn't complain too much. Just trying to prolong this, really. But, there's not really that much.
No, I mean, just introduce us to the backstory of Sarah and Sin, set us up for next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you get an episode that kind of is going to be island-centric, you didn't expect much from the island scenes other than to set it up.
Yeah, same here. I
mean, last time we left it, they just stopped Slade from blowing up the missile launcher. Sorry, blowing up? Oh dear. Using the missile launcher to blow up the freighter.
Yeah, that's true.
And realise that they can take the freighter. So to get from that to the freighter in the next episode would be a bit weird.
Yes, yeah.
So, you'd expect a setup, so we can cope with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we've got some odds and ends to talk about from the episode. First of all, some ironic quotes. There are usually quite a few of these. We had the one in Blind Spot a few weeks ago, our favourite ever episode in the world. With the whole, leave him he's not important towards Oliver. That always makes me chuckle, even as much as we hated the episode. This week we had, you're not a killer, Oliver, from Quentin. And you're lucky your life doesn't revolve around lying from Thea. Both directed at Oliver.
Yeah.
These people have no perspective on what's going on when he is doing his sort of, behind the scenes life.
Yeah, they really don't.
It's quite funny when that happens. So yeah. The where are you speech from, the Clock King sort of reminded me of the Slade monologue.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually.
I mean, it wasn't quite as good.
No. I think we already covered it earlier, that it wasn't quite so intimidating as it sounded in the promo.
No, it really wasn't. But, it was interesting. When Oliver was taking down the bank robber, whoever it was, in the place where Felicity went, I can't even remember where it was. Starling National Bank.
That's it, yeah.
It's in my notes and I'm looking straight at it and I just completely blanked it. Anyway, when he was in there and he did that slide before firing the trick arrow.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was cool.
We've got a reference to Central City, where Dina works, in the university. I remember last year we had the, Dina saying she'll be back in Central City in a flash.
Yep.
Now I understand that reference. I didn't understand it when I watched it. And then suddenly, Barry Allen comes along. Oh, I get that reference now. Everything seems to help. Speaking of the comic references, there were quite a few, thanks to Flash CW fans for that on Twitter. We've got Cord Enterprises, which we've seen before. One of the Blue Beast, I don't know if that's a superhero or a supervillain, I'm not sure. But some sort of comic reference. The DC 52, in reference to Quentin's, unit name.
Yeah.
It's the thing of the comics. The kind of the overview of the comics. McGregor syndrome, which someone called Mr. Freeze's wife and Alfred were dying from in Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And a Blue Devil poster. I don't know who that is.
Me neither.
But yeah, there were a few comic references in that. So, yeah, they were in there. What else have we got? Oh yes, Sin. We've already talked about Sin a little bit, but when she saw Sarah in the, I think it was the mansion, wasn't it? And went in and hugged her, and was like, I'm so glad you're alive. And then was questioned about, do you know her? And then just goes, no, I like it when people return from dead. It satisfies my zombie fetish.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we need Bex Taylor Claw to be made a series regular.
Yes.
Because she is awesome.
Yes.
Even if she doesn't appear every episode, it would increase her episode load.
Yeah.
You know, let's put more of her in there. So much fun. But yeah, she's always quite fun with that. What else have we got here? Not quite sure what else actually. No, I'm pretty much done, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I've really got anything that,
Oh yeah, Laurel not being a Verdant.
yeah.
Can't even say it. Oliver even said it. Told us all how to pronounce it and I can't even say it. Verdant. She's not there to kill Sarah. Which was good.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's done. Do you have anything else, or?
No, just I thought Clock King's theme, I guess it was quite good. I mean, you had the almost church bells at one point, quite creepy, worked quite well.
Yeah. It definitely did. They usually have some great stuff on this show, don't they? They combine everything very well.
Yeah.
So, it's always fun. Okay, so we've got to look ahead to next week's episode. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think our excitement levels are probably at about a -3. I mean, we're not really that excited, are we?
No, not even a little bit.
No, I mean, it's only an island-centric episode where they take the freighter. Slade is... I believe that Roy and Sarah and Diggle are going to try and kill Slade in his house. You've got Oliver in the house with Slade and Moira and everything. It's not going to be all that exciting, to be honest.
I'd rather sit through Blind Spot again, to be honest.
That's a bit too far. Too far. No, it's going to be a hell of an episode. Mark Guggenheim has said that this is the episode that makes last year's season finale look like a student film.
Which is high praise, I guess, indeed.
Considering the high praise that we have for Sacrifice, doing that is seriously impressive.
Yes.
Now, obviously, Mark Guggenheim's going to say that because he works on the show and wants to make people think, yeah, I should watch this because it's going to be great. We'll make our own judgments, but my view on this is, if there's ever an episode to make Sacrifice look like Blind Spot, this is it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
This is the one that has the opportunity. And from what we've heard from Mark Guggenheim and Stephen Amell and everyone else, it's probably going to do that. So I'll read the press release. Oliver is shocked when he learns that Slade has come to Starling City. We know that. Back on the island, as Oliver, Slade and Sarah prepare to take over the freighter from Ivo, Sarah pulls Oliver aside and tells him that he needs to kill Ivo to prevent him from telling Slade what happened with Shadow. Oliver feels immense guilt over the situation, but realizes Slade's growing rage from the Mirakuru makes him unpredictable, and he could turn on his friends if he thinks Oliver is to blame. Oliver agrees to kill Ivo, and the battle begins. You just know that Oliver's going to put an arrow or something through Ivo, and his dying words are going to tell Slade that Oliver chose Sarah.
Absolutely, yes.
You just know it. It's a sort of TV tradition in that you think you've got away with something, and then just before the person dies, they ruin everything.
Yep.
It's typical. But it should be quite fun. I think we know from the promo what the promise is.
Yeah, it does seem abundantly clear now.
To be fair, I think we've known the promise since episode 9.
Yes, I think we have.
But we just don't know that we know it.
No.
If he gets to that monologue again, I don't think it'll be any less cool the second time. So bring it on. Let's just have it again.
Yep. I'm down for that. No problem.
Rewatching it endless times doesn't seem to decrease the quality of it.
No.
So sort of putting it in another episode probably won't either. The promotional images look quite interesting for next week.
Yeah, I've just been flicking through them actually. We've got the ones in the house, obviously. With Fears there, it looks like Roy meets Slade as well. Sarah obviously sees Slade again too. Then we've got ones on the island. Oliver's, well, we already knew from the promo he's wearing the hood for the first real time. We've got what looks like Oliver potentially being injected with what I'd guess would be Mirakuru, which might explain why he's why he's able to presumably take down Slade on the island eventually, and why he also eventually got Cyrus Gold. And also with a few of the last few pictures of Slade looking angry, and 2 of those he's holding a knife while very close to Oliver, so that's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is. It's, yes, as you say, interesting. I think Martin Guggenheim said in his producer's preview, 2 massive moments here. Oliver putting on the hood for the first time, and Slade putting on the Deathstroke mask for the first time.
Yes, yeah, I remember that. Yep.
In itself are brilliant. And, episode makers, those little bits just make episodes. And then we get both of them as well as a massive episode in one go.
Yeah, can't complain.
No, can't come quick enough either.
Nope.
It's definitely going to be very, very good. It seems interesting that considering how much Diggle hates Deadshot, he seems to be taking over his job in the promo.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't actually thought of that before, but yes, he's definitely acting as a bit of a sniper there.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that he, Sarah and Roy are going to Slade's house. There's another thing. How has Slade managed to get a house without anyone knowing?
Very true, actually.
Like, he's got an office without anyone knowing. And it doesn't seem like anyone works there.
That is true, actually.
Maybe, I don't know if we discussed this before, maybe he's taken over at Merlin's company.
Yeah, that's possible. I wonder if that's something we'll find out, perhaps. Because, yeah, you've got to wonder why he's meeting with Moira, really.
Because he's got money and is supposedly a benefactor of Moira.
Well, yeah, true.
I think she pointed that out.
Yeah, I was probably half asleep by that. Well, it's probably the whole Oliver Slade, reveal.
It was so close to the end, and it's just like, oh, come on, bring on the reveal already.
Yeah, so anything else just got waffled in my ears.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I have to rewatch the scene a couple of times to get it in you properly.
Yep.
but yeah, it's it definitely does seem odd how he seems to have come into all this money and an office and a house. Because it was an actual house. It wasn't like an apartment. It was an actual house.
Yeah.
How has he done this?
Well, one thing I was wondering about, we don't really know much about Rachel yet. Moira said to be wary of her, and she apparently reappears in 218, was it?
Yep.
And that is titled Deathstroke, so you would think if you're bringing someone back in that with the episode title, then, you know, you could make a little prediction that she might have something to do with that, and,
she might do.
I don't know, I guess we'll have to see, but, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've pretty much ruled her out for the red shoes woman, haven't we?
Yes.
I think that's Amanda Waller. But, I don't know. I still think that she's not liking Roshev because of what he did with, what we think she did with, Robert.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, I mean, she could have something. I don't know, really.
That's one to just, you know, deal with another day, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. We've gone past the theories podcast. I should have mentioned this last week. Unbelievable. But no, I mean, it's going to be interesting because we heard that she said that he's like a benefactor or whatever, but we don't know where any of his money's coming from. Where he was, because he obviously, if he has an office, he probably runs something.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So how, unless he's broken into a place and it's just sort of, you know, sort of using it as a base to sort of, I don't know.
Going to get to trusty Wikipedia and see if there's anything in there.
What about, like
if he was working, you know, in charge of anything at all.
What, in the comics?
Yeah, I doubt it. Though.
Like I say, I doubt it. I think in the comics he is more sort of just a Deathstroke.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
But
I can't see anything in here, to be honest.
No. I mean, I'm sure it'll get explained, because I'm sure Oliver will ask.
Yeah.
I am surprised that Blood hasn't asked yet. But then I suppose it probably scared to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like, you know, how have you got this office? How have you got a house? I'm going to kill you and your entire family and everyone close to you and everyone who follows you. Which would be half of Starling City.
Yes.
That'd be impressive. You have like what would you have to use to do that? Another earthquake machine.
Yay.
No. No. Let's pass. But yeah. So next week looks to be very good episode. We've got the worry of podcasting for 10 hours or something ridiculous, so
yeah.
You know, if you're going to listen next week, first of all, make sure you've watched the episode first, because
obviously,
yeah,
I'm guessing you don't want to be spoiled for this. Well, you don't want to be spoiled ever, but you know, definitely not this one.
No, and make sure you've got like quite a lot of time free, because we're probably going to go on quite a bit.
Preferably a mini fridge of supplies and snacks to keep going.
Yes. You know, we'll have to make use of the pause button to sort of go to the toilet, get some food out of wherever or whatever, unless you're going to have it right next to you, because we might be going on quite a while.
Yes.
We're very excited for it, and it's not even aired yet.
No, it's a long old wait to get that episode.
Yes. As long as it's not a disappointment.
Yes.
That'd be terrible. Ruin everything. Okay. So, you've got no more thoughts on either episode this week's or next week's, no?
No, just strong episode this week. Bring on next week.
Yes. Okay, so we hope you've all enjoyed this podcast, and we will see you next week.